Yo, what is going on, guys? This is Professor Loki, and in this video I'll be showcasing how to play Kallari. Keep in mind that this is for the jungle, not for solo. I do main solo, but most people play jungle Kallari, so I'm gonna go for the jungle audience. Let's start with the build. The first item you should always get on Kallari is Milady. This item is insanely broken on Kallari, and it's very, very strong. What it basically does is every time you bring someone below 40% health, you gain a stack, and they instantly just take damage. And they take more damage based on the total stacks, and this stacks infinitely. So by the time you reach mid to late game, you will basically just burst kill people, and it works perfectly with your E, your Death Mark, which does damage, and on top of that, with Vanquisher, it's just anytime you bring someone below 40% HP, they get executed essentially, which means that in a way, Kallari only needs to deal 60% of your health to kill you. Second item we're gonna go is Vanquisher. The passive works perfectly with Death Mark. If Death Mark brings you below 5% HP, you get Thanos snapped and executed, and on top of that, it works perfectly with Milady. It's just so beautiful. Third item we're gonna go is called Dread. The first three items are core on Kallari, and I'm gonna build it the exact same way. Dread is amazing. The first thing is Veracity. It basically allows you to regain your health. It's a form of sustain. So Kallari is a very one-trick kind of killer, which is a weakness, not a strength. Dread, what does is it alleviates that weakness and allows you to cycle or ricochet off of enemies. So you kill one enemy, you go to another enemy, you go to another enemy, because you can constantly heal. But the major reason you get this, besides the nice base stats, right? Magic, armor, penetration, power, it's also because of the movement speed. Kallari gains 20% movement speed when she is stealth. Add 10% on top of that, and Kallari starts zooming. This is perfect for initiation, and it's just wonderful, and it works perfectly with her stealth. A must buy on Kallari. The last two items are kind of more situational depending on who you're fighting. If you're fighting a character that's, for instance, if mostly a squishy team, you can go Pain Weaver. If the enemy it has a lot of like healing, like Chimera or Narbash, you can go into Tainted Blade, which is right here. Either way, you can pick one of those three, but generally, I'm going to go Pain Weaver fourth item because this is typically around the time where I have at least a lot of power, around 2 to plus 100 power. And Pain Weaver is basically Hydra's Lament. It is perfect. It is, every time you use an ability, your next auto attacks will deal bonus damage. So let me explain this. And it works really well with Kallari because she can proc this multiple times in a split second. So the first thing you want to do is you stealth, which procs Pain Weaver, as you can see, for the next 4 seconds. You auto attack, and then you right click and you auto attack, and as you just saw, I proc Pain Weaver twice in that split moment. And of course, you can do it faster. It's really crazy. Showcase it one more time. My normal auto attack does 349 damage. As you can see, 493, 600. It's perfect. On top of that, Pain Weaver is additive with your Shadow Walk, because if you forgot, Shadow Walk gives your next basic attack bonus damage. It's just so perfect. It works. Everything works together with this build. The last item, again, really depends. Most of the time, I just go Demon Edge because more power when I'm above certain health. 40% maximum health is a pretty easy threshold to stay in, and on top, especially when you combine it with Dread because you're constantly healing if you're killing, and on top of that, you get 35% penetration. It's pretty good. It's your pen item. If you're wondering what you should get for your starter, now, people like to go Nex if you're a more aggressive and you really can utilize Nex. I don't have much experience with Nex, and I honestly don't really like it. Why? Because almost every game I'm fighting a Grux, or I'm fighting a Richter or a Crunch who can knock me, stun me, pull me. It's just way too much crowd control in the enemy team. So I almost always go Witch Stalker. It basically is a form of beads or a cleanse. Every time you are stunned or anytime you're under crowd control, you press this button and it cleanses all the negatives on top of giving you healing, and and it gives you damage. Your next auto attack or your damaging ability will deal additional damage. So it not only is it damage, it's healing, but it's also cleanse. I feel like this is a must-have on Kallari, so she can actually commit and kill someone without having to worry about the pesky Rector hogging the enemy Sparrow. Now let's talk about upgrade order. The first thing you want to do is you want to max out your Crippling Dagger. This is your bread and butter. It does a lot of damage. The scaling's high. The base damage is pretty high. It is amazing. You absolutely upgrade this first, especially when you can double tap it. People forget that it's 2 in 1, so you basically get double damage, right? The next thing you want to upgrade is your Shadow Walk. Now you don't want to upgrade your Death Mark second. Some people do, but the only benefit of upgrading Death Mark is the cooldown reduction and the extra base damage. It doesn't actually increase the percent damage. That always stays the same. So it's not that worth it. Maxing your Q reduces the cooldown just like your E, but on top of that, it gives you more damage and also increases the duration of the stealth. Now, the major reason why Shadow Walk's cooldown reduction is more valuable than Deathmark's cooldown reduction is because Shadow Walk's cooldown is basically 2 to 3 seconds. That is insane. This allows you to effectively stealth, right? Auto, right-click auto, and then while you're boxing, and this, I'll talk more about this again, you can press Q and auto attack again for that bonus damage. It's basically more damage every 2-3 seconds. After which you max your E, and you do upgrade your ultimate whenever you can, because the cooldown reduction of the ultimate is really good. It allows you to escape more, allows you to do, it allows you to use your ult more often. That is the major reason why I upgraded, not because of the damage or any other. Alright, so tips and tricks. What we just recently talked about with the Q, while you are fighting, let's say you're fighting someone, you can press Q to gain bonus damage immediately. You don't need to wait to be stealth to gain the bonus damage. You get the bonus damage instantly. So for example, watch this. My normal auto attack do 349. 674. So you should absolutely be spamming Q when you are fighting, especially how it auto cancels. So watch this. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2. You see that? Double tap. It is very, very crucial when you are boxing. You basically just want to be mashing the Q button while you're holding left mouse. It is an auto cancel, something that Smite players are familiar with. It basically cancels your animation into the next auto attack. So again, let me showcase it again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You see that? Very powerful. Whenever you're fighting someone, do not initiate with your ult. So if I see someone at full HP, do not press E and then ult the enemy. That is not a smart idea. You're getting rid of your escape. You're telling everyone, hey, Kallari no longer has ult. We can now easily kill her. Do not let the enemy know that your ult is down. You want to make them guess. You want to make them be scared. You want to use your ultimate defensively more than offensively, unless you're very confident about the situation, like you're super fed or something like that. Or if you see or if all stars align, where you can get a perfect ult with your teammates, like a Fang ult or a Gideon ult, sure, but most of the time you want to save your ult defensively. Do not initiate with it. Use as an execute. Let's say the enemy steal is at 30% HP or 40% HP. You press E, you ult, and that death marks them. The death mark explodes, proccing the lady and Vanquisher. It's a lot of damage. That is pretty much the only real time I'll ever use my ultimate in an offensive manner. Or let's say you get pushed back by a Murdoch shotgun or Dango just ults away. You can obviously use your ult as a follow-up chase. Absolutely, but just be careful when using your ultimate, because when your ult is down, you're very much prone to death. Now let's talk about the double jump for Kallari. Double jump is actually insanely strong on Kallari. She is the only character in the game that can actually, easily, not without having to use a core ability. I'm assuming maybe Decker. I think Decker can also do it too. But Kallari is really the character that can really utilize this whenever she wants, basically. It allows her to jump over this. You might be thinking, oh, that's a very simple, pointless mechanic. It really isn't when you're considering it as an escaping tool. Let's say you're being chased and someone's attacking you. You can easily just jump up in the air and they can no longer touch you. Now, obviously, Gideon can probably chase you, or they can use their flash, but you also have flash and you have an ultimate. So not only can you double jump to escape, you can also flash and you can ult out. Kallari has a lot of tools to run away. But let's say there are no walls to jump to and you're like saying, oh, well, I can't jump to anything and I'm probably going to die. Let's say you're in the lane, for instance, or something like that. What you want to do is you want to press your Q, jump, and then jump backwards. That is what you want to do, because the enemy is going to be running straight to chase you, and then what you're going to do is while you're in the air, you're going to go invisible, and you're going to jump backwards, and the enemy will kind of lose track of you. I've done this many times, and it works most of the time if the enemy isn't always paying attention. So again, you want to press your Q, jump in the air, and then space out your jumps, and then jump backwards. Keep in mind that Kallari is moving 20% faster backwards, while the enemy is going full throttle forward. You will definitely lose them, and they won't be in your circle. Try it out. It does work most of the time. Next thing we're going to do is a warding mechanic. So Kallari is the best anti-warder in the game, as far as I'm aware. Her stealth, while she is invisible, she can see all enemy wards in her radius. Now, she cannot physically attack them, because as soon as you auto-attack, you no longer can see them, but that doesn't matter when you have something called Sentry. So what I do with Kallari is I typically buy Sentry. It really depends. If my team is not warding, I stay with wards and I never use sentry until the very late game. Because you need to ward Fang. Fang is the only relevant objective in this game as of now because it gives you permanent buffs. So you want to have that place warded. But if my team is consistently warding, if I see the support warding Fang or the ADC warding Fang or whatnot, we have a lot of ward coverage around the Fang monster. Then what I do is around level 6 to 9, I swap to Vision. So I do have wards in the first 6 to 9 levels because I need wards just for the early game. But then I eventually swap to Vision. And what you want to do is you want to stealth and go near those hot spots where you think wards are. For example, where the fog is or where the Fang is. And we don't want to walk around. And when you see a ward, because you will see them, press 3, which will activate Vision. And now you can now destroy the ward. And it also gives you gold for doing it. So it's actually a great way to get free gold. I think you get around 20 gold for every ward you destroy. And this adds up if the enemy team is consistently dropping their wards down. So you can easily make around 100 gold just by walking. Now let's talk about the 2 ways to play as Kallari. There are 2 ways you can start playing as Kallari in the jungle. You can invade, or you can play safe and start at your own camp, which will be the red buff. If you're starting at the red buff, make sure to ask your solo laner or your duo laner to help you with the camp in case you will be invaded, because you probably will be invaded. If you get invaded, your buff's going to be stolen and you're going to cry and you're going to die. But if you have your friendly neighborhood Sev or Crunch with you, or your friendly neighborhood support at ADC with you, it's a 2v1 or a 3v1, and it basically discourages the invader. And it's also why I build wards in the early game rather than getting this at level 1, because having stealth ward at level 1 allows me to put 1 ward in one place that the invader can come, and while I face the other direction where the invader can also come through. It's just covering all my spots so I don't lose to an invade. Another thing to do is do not use Hunt, your smite, or whatever you want to call it, your hog, smite, whichever game you're from. Do not use it in the beginning. Let's say you're doing the buff. Do not hog it in the beginning, because if you hog it in the beginning, the enemy invader is going to hog your camp to last hit and steal it. Save your hunt toward the end. Figure out through practice when the monster's HP is low enough for you to use your hog to confirm it yourself. Then the other way to play Kallari is the invade route, which is basically you trying to cheese. So far, my invading success rate is basically 100%. Not always resulting in a kill, but it's resulting in me taking the red buff because the enemy is generally incompetent. They don't know about the invade, or they are using their hunt in the beginning, which guarantees me getting the hunt last, and to steal the buff. But a person who is aware of this, such as me, will have a little harder time to be invaded. It can work, but it can and probably fail when you're fighting against better players, especially when they're aware of your tactics before, like if they ward or if they ask, like again, their help from ADC or whatever. So I don't recommend invading unless you are just want to try it out. But this is how you invade. What you want to do is you want to wait. You can look at the timer of your own hunt to know when the enemy's hunt is also available. So you want to wait until the enemy starts the red buff. Now, Kallari, you want to upgrade your Q first if you're invading. If you're not invading, you want to upgrade your dagger throw. And then what you want to do is, toward the time when the enemy jungler starts clearing the camp, you then want to press Q. Pressing Q allows you to stealth. And when you stealth, the enemy can't see. And then you just simply chill and wait there until the enemy is just giving you that easy racking, and you just move up, auto attack it into an immediate hunt to steal the red buff. It is of course risky because if the enemy saves their hunt, they can hunt your hunt, and then whoever pressed it first gets the buff. It's tricky. It is risky. It does take practice to learn when you can steal it. But it does work, and it's pretty effective against an ignorant foe. After that, you want to go back to base, get your few whatever extra items, and then go farming normally. Go do your own red, go do the blue, do the camps. Just do the typical jungle strat of you just going around to camp, farming, clearing, and whatnot. If you didn't invade and you just skip the first part, you just clear the red, do the camps around there. Once you reach level 3, you can also try to gank the mid laner or the ADC, whichever your side you're on, and to see if you can snag an early kill or early pressure. Around the 6-minute mark or whatnot is when the Fang starts spawning, and you want to make sure you control this. Do not start the Fang Tooth. Do not start it yourself unless you're absolutely sure you can solo it. Because what's going to happen is you're going to do Fangtooth by yourself, and then you're going to be very low and almost killing Fangtooth. You can solo it at level 4, you can, but you'll be at death's door. And all it takes is one enemy to look around the corner, take Fangtooth from you, and then kill you. So do not start Fangtooth. I've learned my lesson to never start Fangtooth unless it's 100% confirmed, and let the enemy start it so I can steal it. Because it's easier to steal with Kallari since you can go invisible. If you can go invisible, they can't see you. You wait the last second, you throw your double dagger, you proc hunt, allowing you to burst Fang down for an execute. This is something that I've done before, and it works pretty well. That is it. If you have any comments, questions, or concerns, please let me know down below. And I'll see you guys all Kallari and non-Kallari players next time. Take care.